Prep Dad, thank you all for coming today, and congratulations to your sons on getting accepted to St. Peter's Prep. Um, this is one of my two slides. Today is going to be very conversational. I hope nobody minds. I hope nobody was expecting to sit through an hour of slides. I'm much more informal than that. And really, like I said in my email, today is really all about you. Jacob, who's on the line, and myself, we'll talk a little bit about prep from, well, actually, why don't I just share the agenda? I'll share a minute about me. Jacob will talk a little bit about himself, and then I'll jump in on my perspective of prep as a parent, and Jacob will offer a perspective as a student, and then we'll end up our sort of portion with some tips, suggestions, recommendations, things we've both learned along the way, and we'll open it up to Q&A, and you can ask anything you want: transportation, meal plans, classes, clubs, there's nothing off the table. Anything at all you want to know, we're happy to answer. And between me and Jacob, I think we'll be able to cover just about any question you have, I would think. So, all right. So without further ado, as I mentioned, my name is Mark. I am a prep dad. This is, we fumbled through the private school, Catholic/Jesuit school experience. We had no idea about this world until Jacob went to Notre Dame in Palisades Park, and that's where we learned about this process, sort of in about end of 7th grade, I guess. And the journey began, and we obviously selected St. Peter's Prep. We visited, oh my goodness, a lot of the schools around here, probably some of the same ones you guys did as well. And Jacob had some experiences with those schools as well, different things, different opportunities at Notre Dame. But in the end, we chose prep, and well, you'll learn about the reasons behind it, I think, and over the course of this call. And that's my introduction. Jacob, if you don't mind, if you can unmute yourself, there you go, and say hello.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob Townman. I'm a senior now at St. Peter's Prep. I'm going to graduate in a couple months, which is insane. My journey through this school went by too quick. I loved every moment of it. Like my dad said, starting as an 8th grader at a Catholic middle school, I had no idea about this whole world of Catholic schools until I stumbled upon St. Peter's Prep. And it is without a doubt the best decision I ever made to come to this high school. The amount of opportunities and just how well the staff and teachers and the students look out for you, and the friendships made, and just the memories are unforgettable. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm just so happy to be here, and hopefully, I won't be around when your sons will be freshmen, but I'm pretty sure that if they choose to come here, that they'll have an amazing time, an amazing experience.
Definitely. Thank you, Jacob. All right. So moving on in the agenda. So my perspective as a parent. I don't really have any cons, to be honest. And that, please note, I am not paid by the school to do this. And if you decide to go, I do not get any sort of commission or anything like that. I do this just because the school has been so good to us. But let me give you sort of an overview parent's perspective. So I have, and for the record, I have twin boys who are in 8th grade now. Both are attending Fort Lee Middle School. Excuse me, one is attending Fort Lee Middle School now. The other one is at a different school. But so one thing that was immediately clear to me at St. Peter's Prep is how incredibly well run and organized they are. I mean, everything they do, right? So if you have kids in public school, when the pandemic hit and all the schools shut down in March, I don't know what your experience was, but for us and the kids, it was a mess. It was a free-for-all on the public school side, which they absolutely loved, but it was definitely, it was a great experience for them. I'll leave it at that. And St. Peter's literally had built a platform to roll into an extremely efficient, organized structure for classes without skipping a beat. It was, and what I mean is they had Zoom in place. They had all the technology in place and all the extra technology they needed to just roll out virtual classes. So they really didn't skip a beat. And I don't, from a learning perspective, the public schools for the kids, they kind of had classes like once a week, and they just logged in, got their homework assignments and did them. There was no actual classes really for those last few months of seventh grade for the twins, where Jacob was on a fairly strict schedule still, and they didn't really skip a beat. And that is how they're really well organized in terms of their communication. From a perspective with communication with teachers, with administration, with the staff there, they are efficient and immediate at their responses, or within a day, less than 24 hours, from the president of the school to the secretarial and support staff to teachers. They're really on top of it. I think, from the education side of things at St. Peter's Prep, really remarkable on the structure. They, the way everything's taught, they take our kids, right, as these, and forgive me kids if you're on the phone, students, they take our kids from these sort of awkward-ish, maybe not as mature yet, which is perfectly normal, 13-year-old boys. And over the course of the 4 years, they turn out these incredibly mature, comfortable with parents, comfortable in any situation, young men. It's really remarkable. And I see that, in my son, who's obviously got lots of friends in town still, as well as friends from prep. And when you meet prep kids, it's like talking to another adult. They shake your hand, they look you in the eyes, they say, "It's nice to meet you." They're very polite. They're just just all around. They really transform the children, where it's just different. So I think from every aspect, from prepping these kids for what's next, going to college and things, to how to handle situations, giving them the onus and the freedom to really work, to really grow as a person, and take ownership of their decisions and their lives and things. They really do an amazing job in preparing them, along with us, of course, but that was something that was really unique. Overall, the experience I've had too with any of the extracurricular stuff, same. So St. Peter's has a wide range of sports and tons of clubs and things like that. And they're also really geared to guiding the kids through the process and getting the most out of everything. There's lots of opportunities. There's a lot of, I don't want to call it hand holding, but there's a lot more guidance at prep. So you've got, on average, I think there's about 950 kids at the school across the 4 grades. It starts out with about 200 plus in the freshman year. And, as they go through it, by the time the kids graduate, it's a little less, kids move or whatever. It's about 180. But just, because Jacob's a senior now, even in his junior year, the preparation for preparing for college was unlike anything I had ever seen. They have a huge guidance staff. So each guidance counselor has just a handful of kids, really, and they really know the students very well. They have guidance meetings every week, all through the 4 years. So they really know the kids really, really well, strengths, weaknesses, the whole shebang. And they really are hands-on about guiding the kids through the process. And they make sure that you're on top of dates and you get things done early and all, and that's really goes without saying for the classes as well. Because class size is relatively small, I think Jacob really had a great opportunity to get to know his teachers well, where you're not one of 40 faces in a classroom, you're practically a number and they don't know you that well. They really work very closely with the students and they create a bond, and there's a comfort level. I stimulated curiosity, a drive in Jacob that I hadn't seen before. I used to really, be really, shall we say, really on top of Jacob's case, sort of 6th, 7th in middle school. High school, halfway through freshman year, I realized I could really take my foot off the gas because the competition amongst his peers at each grade level is friendly, but yet competitive, right? So everybody kind of drives each other, and it really propelled Jacob. So I thought that was wonderful. I also think some of the opportunities they have to grow outside of just academia is great. I'd mentioned clubs, I'd mentioned sports, but they also have several retreats, Jesuit style retreats, which are kind of they're in. I don't. I guess Jacob can talk about more about the retreat piece, but I thought those were interesting. Where they go and they are off at a nice place somewhere that's quiet, and they're focused on learning about themselves, and there's a lot of different activities around that, and I think just helps them grow as well. And then the last thing I'll say, and I'm sure Jacob will talk about this too, is some of the other experiences that are seem pretty unique. At least I can't speak for other private schools. I'm sure they have them, but certainly for me, with St. Peter's Prep, was the international programs, whether it was 2 weeks studying abroad with a family, or almost like short-term Peace Corps work, down working in one of many developing countries around the world, and the hands-on activities and the experiences the kids get, amazing. And like I said, the kinship and the bonds and the friendships that were made are really remarkable. So I guess I've droned on long enough. That's, I think, my parent perspective. And again, you can ask me anything you want afterwards, but I wanted to punt things over to Jacob and let him give you his perspective as a student. And Jacob, if you want to lead with the tips, suggestions, and thoughts section, anything you want to add, please just roll right into it as well. Okay.
Yeah, so I would just wanted to kind of talk about my experience as a freshman at St. Peter's Prep. So yeah, I was, probably the only kid in Fort Lee, since it's so far from the school, to be going to this school in Jersey City, which is obviously in Hudson County. You see a lot of Hudson County kids and a lot of kids from that area. I was thinking, it'll probably be a little hard to be make friends. I was a little nervous and everything like that, but I've found that was not the case. I can say without a doubt that every student in this school has a place. There's everyone has a friend group, but it's not a cliquey school. Everyone has groups, but the class in itself, everyone gets along with one another. So yeah, making friends was not an issue. The classes, as a freshman, I think the freshman year classes have some of the best teachers at St. Peter's Prep. I don't think I've ever had a bad teacher. um Again, the student to teacher ratio is very small, so teachers know you by name. There's real relationships being built, and yeah, without a doubt, it's for those type of reasons that the retention rate here at St. Peter's Prep is extremely high. No one tends to leave. Everyone loves this school. And yeah, so a little more about myself. Freshman year, I was known as a 250 kid, which is like I left at 250 and I wasn't really involved with the school. I was still discovering myself as a Jesuit student in a Jesuit school, and I wasn't really taking advantage of the opportunities. So yeah, sophomore year came around. Oh wait, well I should say yeah. So I was looking to get more involved. So towards the end of my freshman year, I started looking into the clubs and sports. I did rowing. Then I got into rugby sophomore year. So the opportunities here are endless. There's about, I'd say, 150 clubs to take a part of, anywhere from a club where students meet once a week to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, to chess club, to anime club, video game club, um, spike ball club, anything you really can think of. There's an opportunity there to take place. And the good thing is, a lot of freshman students come in with ideas of clubs, and they're able to sort of start their own clubs, and they're all run by teachers overviewing the situation, but the students are running the clubs, so there's a sense of leadership there. So same, like, the school really is focused on leadership. So I'd say every student finds their leadership role, and they really become more focused on helping others, being men for others. And yeah, just the way that they've built up students. Some of my friends, from how they were freshman year to now, completely changed into really respectful, intelligent young men who are going to do great things, honestly. So yeah, those are the big things. The education is amazing. I like, teachers are great. A lot of teachers are sort of like like for example, my history teacher, he's a Harvard grad. He's amazing, super informative, great teacher. So a lot of teachers come from great backgrounds. A lot of them are actually prep students. So there's even that sort of relationship between the teachers who have experienced St. Peter's and then the teachers, the students there. So yes. So some of the experiences I took place in was there's a bunch of, you go on a retreat every year, and the retreats, they're either Jesuit focused or you're doing service. So I've helped with mental illness. I've done food drives, but the big one for me was 2 weeks in Ecuador for my service trip for junior year. So you had to apply to go to Ecuador, and if you got picked, you would go to Ecuador for 2 weeks to do sort of service in Quito, Ecuador, which is the capital of Ecuador. And these opportunities are open to all students, and yeah, it has to be the number one thing that I did at the school. We were building houses, helping families, traveling Ecuador, doing amazing stuff. And when we came back, we had time to reflect and on the opportunity, and the friendships that I made on that trip. I didn't even know some of the kids on that trip just because there's just so many kids in the school, and now they're some of my best friends. So just you really get to know, yeah, you really make your friends for life in this school, honestly. So yeah. So if anyone's coming from a town where not a lot of kids are going to St. Peter's, don't worry, it's okay. You will make your friends. You will find. Sorry, I'm getting a call. You will find your place, and yeah, it's amazing. Let's see. Anything else I should touch up on?
Um, let's see. I think you did a pretty good job.
I guess some of the clubs that I'm in personally, because I spoke about them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm in the diversity board. I come from European and Latin backgrounds, and one of the big things about St. Peter's in comparison to some of the other Catholic schools in New Jersey is that the diversity here is unlike any other. You have people from all over, different religions, different backgrounds, ethnicities, and everyone just comes together, and it sort of, it's just good to get other perspectives, and everyone is so welcoming, and it's great to, and it's just, that's one thing that really sold me when I was applying, is just the diversity, especially coming from a town like Fort Lee, which has a lot of different cultures. I would definitely wanted to definitely involve myself more with in those type of aspects. So yeah. So the diversity board, I'm in the campus ministry team, which is sort of like the religious group on campus. They do the food drives. We take the younger grades for retreats, and we do a lot of fundraising for the school. And then I'm also on Marauder Nation, which is sort of like the fan section of the football games, which is a um, whole different experience. So we're raising money for the sports. We're selling tickets. We're getting the school pumped up for the games. Yeah, and I sort of, to see myself go from a kid that will leave school at 2:50, come home at like 3:45, while all my other friends were doing sports or in clubs, to see myself sort of become one of them was very important to me. So I'm really thankful for the opportunities that this school has given me.
Awesome. Jacob, do you have any tips or recommendations for students? Anything else?
Yeah. So freshman year, I mean, I knew no one that went to St. Peter's, so it was sort of me going in for the first time, had no idea what was going on. So especially for some of the younger kids that I know, I always tell them, get involved, get out of your comfort zone, make experiences, and it happens naturally. You don't have to feel forced. It will happen. Like, you will leave the school feeling accomplished and doing whatever you want. But yeah, definitely get involved. There's just so many things to do, so many clubs like I talked on. There's every sport you can think of. There's bowling, from bowling to fencing to swimming to water polo, rugby, football, any sport. And you have to try out, but they do accept a lot of kids. So get involved, make relationships with your teachers. I have teachers from freshman year that I still talk to, and they're very helpful. And if I ever need to talk to anyone or help, they're sort of like there for you. So yeah. And final tip, I would say, I guess go to school on time. That was hard for me to commute. You know, as a freshman, I would take a bus and a train, so that was a crazy commute, but it's worth it. It's worth the trip, or I would have left a long time ago. So yeah, get to school on time would be my last tip.
Thanks, Jacob. Um, so yeah, just to echo what Jacob said, I think um, what really makes St. Peter's Prep so interesting is getting involved. So we talked about that enough already, but even the extracurricular and fundraising activities, they are remarkably well organized. And I would say my one minor regret is that my wife and I didn't really get that, we didn't participate that much until this year, just the way things worked out. But we just went to a fashion show event to raise money for the school. And when I tell you, this was it was the most remarkable thing. The fashion show, the kids all did their thing on the runway or whatever, but really they had remarkable five-star food. They had all these incredible raffles from things that were donated. You could bid on virtually, or if you were there in person, drop your tickets in the box. And the valet parking. I mean, everything they did was so above board and so well organized, and so like unlike anything I've seen before at this level, maybe even at the collegiate level. And that's just how they are. They have you know, a lot of parents get involved. Obviously, these things don't run themselves, but they have a lot of support and help from the parents. And you know, we're happy to do it because the school just gives so much. So I think getting involved is important as early as you can, would be my one takeaway from my own experiences. And I think Jacob said something that was important I meant to mention, the teachers. So you really have that opportunity to connect with a teacher, perhaps in a more personal way than you do when you're one of 40 or one of 35 kids in a classroom. And I think there's a huge value there for your high school education and beyond, because as Jacob mentioned, a lot of the teachers come from prep. They were preps, they were within prep. They have some tie to prep, maybe if this is an all boys school, right? But there are female teachers. They might have had a son that went there or a relative or something. There's always a connection somehow. So they're really passionate about the school and how they teach and what they teach and everything. And beyond that, although their first job in many cases, you know, is teaching, they have some remarkable side hustles, these teachers. We found out. They're very quiet and humble about it, but it really is pretty fascinating. And so these teachers are a wealth of connections, and that whole thing about networking, it's not what you know, it's who you know, that whole thing. It starts at St. Peter's Prep. And I think over the years, Jacob has really learned to build on that. And as Jacob mentioned, one of his teachers went to Harvard, did an MBA from Harvard. That's lovely. But there's a lot. The teachers, the high school teachers have PhDs and a lot of MBAs, and they are what's really interesting is they have to earn their seat every year, no matter how wonderful they are. They have a 1-year contract, and if they don't meet or, you know, best expectations and so on, they don't get renewed. So they have a real commitment to the school and to the teaching, and unlike, say, in a public school system, where, you know, you're tenured after 3 years and that's it, you're kind of stuck with the teacher for what it's worth. And, you know, it is what it is. But at St. Peter's Prep, you're virtually guaranteed at outstanding teachers that the child will enjoy. And I think in what, 4 years, Jacob, and however, you know, how about what, 30 odd classes more, whatever it's been. You had freshman year, that one physics teacher that wasn't that great, that you know, he was a bit difficult. And guess what? He wasn't back for Jacob's sophomore year. But other than that, they've all been outstanding. So I think that's really, it's a real testament to the way the system is. The last thing I'll say, we talked, you know, it is a Jesuit school. By the way, I'm actually Jewish. My wife is Roman Catholic. But as far as, you know, the religious education, freshman year is a little more formal. Sophomore year, it's a lot less formal. So if you're not Catholic or Jesuit or whatever, it makes no difference. Like we said, there's kids from every background, every religion that go there. And, you know, as you get sort of advanced through the ranks, your flexibility on classes is more and more interesting. Jacob's class, I find it fascinating. It's God in all films, but wait, Jacob, do you want to just share some of the movies you're watching to find God in all films?
So yeah, that is a senior elective class. It's sort of like the one of the more popular classes that seniors take. But like my dad said, freshman year, it's more like you're analyzing the Bible and stuff. And so first 2 years is a little more formal. Junior year, you go into like it's an ethics class, but senior year is you can pick a variety, and the popular one is Finding God in All Films. And we're not watching like cheesy Lifetime movies. We're watching like some serious hits. Like so, we watched Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, Flight with Denzel Washington. We watched Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. What else? I'm having Dead Poet Society. Just a lot of classics, a lot of hits. So great movies that and there's many more. So yeah, and we basically have to sort of analyze the movie. It's more of like reflecting if you can relate to a character in a sort of way. Yeah, the classes are great. Which is another thing, the amount of electives you can take outside of the core is great. So that starts sophomore year. You can take architecture, art, sound design, sculpting. You can take history of a certain continent or country. You can take an AP class, a couple AP classes if you want. There's a bunch of honors classes. Yeah, so if depending on how hard you want to challenge yourself, there's a level of rigor for every student. So yeah.
And on that note, the last thing I'll say before we go to Q&A, because we've already gone a little more than I wanted to, but is, one thing I noticed is the level of colleges that Jacob applied to, I would say, are outstanding for what, where we thought we were, in 8th grade. We didn't really have any clue, but they really prepare the kids for college. And I would say, based on what I'm hearing from Jacob and some of Jacob's friends and peers, that you come out of a school like this, any Catholic school, really, they all, the colleges have their favorite schools, but it seems like these colleges know what they're getting with a St. Peter's Prep kid, I guess. And they know the sort of level of maturity and what they can expect. And they're all driven and hardworking kids. And like as Jacob said, really guided towards leadership. And, it's been pretty remarkable so far. Just we're starting to hear from colleges, but I know that they are all, it seems like they have a leg up, in getting in, and more importantly, getting scholarships and things as well. So it's been great. It's not cheap, right? At the end of the day, but it is bar none well worth the investment. And if your child is half as driven, and they will be a lot more driven probably once they get in there, the money you'll get for college will wipe out the cost of this high school times 10. So there you go. Anyway, that's all I've got, folks. I'm going to mute myself. If you want, you can unmute yourself if you want to ask questions, if you know how to raise your hand on this thing. There's a little reactions button on the bottom. If you click it, there's a little raise hand button. I can call on you that way. Or if you want to just use the chat feature and you want to type in questions, and you can direct the questions either, any which ways you're comfortable with on Zoom. And we'll, go from there, and either Jacob or I will happily answer your questions. And, we got a half hour to chat. If we take up the whole time, we go longer, it's fine. If we don't go to the end, it's fine too. Whatever you're comfy with.
All right, we have a question.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Abraham. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for doing this wonderful presentation.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Jacob, as well. You are a very nice kid.
Thank you.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
In whichever college you go to. A quick question I have for Mark or Jacob. How does the school suit for a person who is not Catholic? I think you touched upon it. You said like first 2 years is some formal education about religion, and then the last 2 years are not that formal. So how do you see like this school suiting for a person who is not from Catholic background?
Yeah. So like I said, the school, it's not just like Catholic kids coming together and there's a few outliers. There's many religions, many backgrounds, many cultures coming. So the school understands that there's you know, not everyone's gonna be Catholic. So the religion classes aren't super like focused on the religious aspects. It's more of reflecting and sort of analyzing. It's not really like practicing or anything. And then as you get older, you can choose the type of classes you want on that in those regards, as to if you want it to be more religious or less religious, more focus on the ethics of it all or the analysis of a certain religion. So you can actually start like learning about more religions as you get older. There's also a bunch of clubs for students of different religions so they can come together. Like there's a Hebrew club, there's a bunch of other clubs. So yeah, everyone finds a place. It's not so focused on religion. The school's more about accepting and encouraging the education of more religions and backgrounds.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's the Jesuits are very laid back and sort of laissez-faire about their attitudes. They're not preaching to become a Catholic or anything like that. Not at all. And I think, Jacob, your sophomore year, the doctor you had, the PhD, the lady, that was an interesting theme. What was her theme again? About you talked about the Bible, but it was different. It was how it related to morals or how it related to modern day or something.
Yeah, so we sort of studied a lot of philosophers and their ideas. It wasn't really a religious based
No, it's
class.
great. It's great to know about other religions. I was just trying to see what
Yeah.
you think from
Yeah,
your.
no one's ever felt uncomfortable. I have kids from I have friends from all different religions. They take the class, they actually find it interesting what they learn, and then as they get older, they'll find the elective courses or religious based classes that they like to take, and they learn from there. So yeah.
Yeah, Abraham, I would say it's really just almost like at a college level class in the sense that you're just exploring, a new idea. And that's about it. It's just interesting. It gives you a different perspective. That's as far as it goes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure. Good question.
Mark and Jacob, thank you very much for all the information. It's very helpful. So since you guys live in Bergen County, and so what made you guys to decide to go down to Jersey City, given that there's like Bergen Catholic here around this area, and there's also like Don Bosco. So I'm not sure if you guys looked into those schools.
All of them, Paramus Catholic, Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco, St. Joe's. Yep.
So what's the difference? And what made you guys to decide to go to St. Peter's?
So yeah, obviously being a kid from Bergen County, I was looking at St. Joe's, Montville, Bergen Catholic, sort of those type of schools. And what really influenced my my decision was I actually took a program over the summer going into 8th grade, which is sort of like a summer camp. But I know that's not, called the HAT program. I know it didn't really happen this year because of COVID, but that was definitely a deciding factor. I liked all the traveling opportunities that the school had, which a lot of the other schools really don't have trips like and opportunities for us, for students. From when I was researching at the time, I don't know now. The classes here at St. Peter's are more competitive, more rigorous, and they're definitely more they'll get you better prepared for the college experience. I did the freshman for a day thing. I'm sure some of your children have done that or have thought of done that at different schools. And I like the idea of free periods, which is something that that the other schools didn't have. That just came to my head. That's one of the big ones. The free period isn't a time to slack off or anything. It's a time to collaborate with students that you don't have classes with, make new friends, explore the school, get work done, and plan ahead for your week. So just the ability to manage your time, especially for a kid commuting to Bergen County during these free periods, was very important to me. So that was a big one too. And yeah, we just had more sports were available, more clubs, just the opportunities at St. Peter's Prep were just way more broader than the ones at the other schools. So that's what I looked at all of them, and I really thought I was going to Bergen Catholic first, and I'm glad I didn't, because St. Peter's Prep was the right school for me.
How are you coping with the commute? Because taking a bus and then light rail, I guess, like for 4 years.
The commute?
Yeah. So the
Are you able to keep up with that? Or
Yeah, the commute, it's fine. I feel like, well, the high school in my town starts earlier than St. Peter's. I think St. Peter's starts at 8:10. So I wake up around 7. Well, as a freshman, I wake up at 7, walk to the bus stop, and then take the bus to the train. The whole thing took about 45 minutes. I would usually be on time. In some cases, I would sleep through my alarm or something. But for the most part, the commute wasn't anything, and it was worth it. It was worth it at the time. I mean, it still is. I would do the commute to go to school every day if I had to still, but
and
get a like student pass or from
Oh yes, so there are packages that are available at the school, student discounts, student monthly passes, and also if your town is eligible for it, I believe that there's a reimbursement every year, Dad, right?
yeah.
For transit.
So I don't know if we have anyone on the line from Fort Lee, but you could check with the Board of Ed, but they, and in fact, on the website for St. Peter's Prep, there is a mileage reimbursement program. A lot of towns have it. And basically it's it's for the bus, right? So they reimburse in Fort Lee, they reimburse $1,000 to you, the parents, to cover the cost of the bus transportation, if the town doesn't have buses. So that's the situation with Fort Lee. We don't have a bus that goes to St. Peter's Prep because there's not that many kids. So they reimburse you. So that's nice. So there's forms on the website. So that's one. Two, the student pass is $17.50 a month, and that covers bus and light rail. So that's, it's pretty easy. And sometimes if Jacob was running late and we were able to, we would just drive Jacob to the light rail station. So there's a bunch of them, right? So you have, depending where you're coming from, there's one in Edgewater on River Road by the ferry. There's one on Tonelli Avenue, on like 53rd Street and Tonelli Avenue or whatever it is, Broad Avenue, whatever that street is down there. So sometimes we would do that. And if we were feeling generous, we might drive Jacob there, a couple times randomly. But so that was, and it was just, it was made the commute painless and easy. Just depends, like on a frigid winter day, maybe we'll drive Jacob, but otherwise it's not terrible. I don't, driving the child all the way to school, if you do it, great, good for you, but you probably do it once and be like, yeah, never again. Yeah, the traffic is horrendous. Once you get to, like Hoboken and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hi, thank you for this great presentation. So yeah, we're coming from Teaneck, so not too far from Fort Lee.
No.
But I was just curious, with the commuting, Jacob, I guess people, I mean, I don't know how many people are coming from Bergen County or from all these other towns and not, Hudson County. Do you guys sort of figure out who you are, and do you like find yourselves and end up commuting together, or are there like, is it really no one coming from Bergen County?
Oh, no.
I guess also to go home if you're not in, if you, stuff like that. You guys are able to find each other.
Yeah. So like I said, as a freshman, I knew nobody, had no friends, but as you become friends, you find out these kids like live sort of close to you, and you're gonna find a lot of prep kids on the train going to school together. Everyone sits together, everyone's with their friends, and yeah, going especially if you have a friend in sports, you'll go take the train back, or even right after school, you'll see a lot of prep kids at the train station taking the same trains as you guys. And yeah, there's always a small to big group of prep kids on the train that ride together, and a lot of them happen to be some of my closest friends that I actually made on those train rides to school, on those commutes to school. So yeah, so you'll definitely feel safe, and the commute is fun when you're with your friends. It goes by quick. Yeah, you'll have no problems having fellow classmates on the train.
Yeah, everybody looks out for each other, and everybody's got the uniforms, right? Or so the sort of casual dress pants and the cardigans and stuff, or the turtlenecks, and yeah, it's funny when I drop Jacob off at the train, there's really 2 or 3 trains that you can catch in order to get to school on time. And there's always, well, I should say, yeah, no, even now, even with COVID, they go sort of part-time to school, a couple of days a week, but there's always a big group of prep outfits that gather together on the platform. Yeah.
It's like the whole train is flooded in the maroon color. You'll definitely know a prep guy if you see on the train. So yeah, you'll never be riding alone if that's answering your question. You'll always have a prep brother with you on the train. Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to interject here if possible.
Sure.
Hi, my name's Marissa. My son's Cristiano. He is an 8th grader at Notre Dame Academy.
Oh, right.
I hate to keep, harping on the transportation, but it's definitely a sore spot for me.
Yep. I understand that.
I am heavily considering Don Bosco, even though it's very far. They have the busing, Bergen Catholic as well. The transportation is definitely a sore spot for me. So Jacob, really quickly, and I know that we've elaborated a little bit, but I'm still stuck on it. When I did my research about a year or two ago, when I was looking into St. Peter's Prep, we're in Cliffside Park. So essentially that means he has to take like the 159 to the ferry and jump on the light rail. And the way that I saw it was if he didn't make that 7-Eleven light rail to make it at school at 8 o'clock, he was done. Now I'm dealing with a 13-year-old who's very smart, but he's a scatterbrain and I have to call him 37,000 times to get up. So as a mom, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to become my problem. So when you say that you took, aside from the fact that your parents drove you occasionally, you took the bus from Fort Lee, right? You took to the ferry, to the light rail.
Yes.
Right? What time did you leave?
Okay, so since you're in Cliffside Park, we take the same route, the 159R, we go straight to Imperial. So I know this route pretty well.
Okay.
You don't have to be by the train to 7-Eleven. The last train to get on time is 7:41. So you do have some time. That train goes pretty fast. So as long as you're by the train station by 7:41, you will be making it to class on time. As far as the bus goes, I would say maybe to get to the bus by 7-Eleven would be your last shot. But as long as you're by the train station by 7:41, the Port Imperial train station, you will be fine.
Right. But essentially it's better to get there earlier because if you miss that 7:41, then you're late to school.
Yes.
Yep. And the light rails are pretty frequent too, but yeah, your goal is 7:10 bus, 7-Eleven at the bus. Well, that's for Fort Lee too. So maybe you've got a few extra minutes depending where you're going to catch the bus on Anderson Avenue in Cliffside, right? Or, before,
Right.
But yeah, that's your timing. The bus typically is 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? You know that already. And then the train is quick. It's what, Jacob, 21 minutes?
Yeah, it's about a 25-minute bus ride, and even with traffic, and then a 20-minute train ride. So it's a 45-minute ordeal.
And then you've got 6-7 minutes from the light rail station to campus.
Yeah,
walking, right?
Right. Okay.
It's not
Right,
bad. You get, it's not really that bad.
Right. In my mind, as a mom, I have a 13-year-old who, I give him 5 different tasks and he only does 2 of them. So it's it's like, it's a lot, but thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem. And I've got 3 boys and I would say one is 0 out of 5. The second one, maybe 1 or 2 out of 5. And Jacob at 13 was just like Cristiano.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's hard. It's tough. It's tough, guys. So I think about him like being on his phone and not focusing and just being a hot mess. And honestly, I just can't have that. So the security of like paying for a bus to go to Bosco, even though it's a really early morning, or Bergen Catholic, where academically they may not be as challenged, it's just peace of mind.
Yeah.
So
I understand. No, you make whatever decision you feel is the best. Of course, we don't think we're trying to sell you on St. Peter's.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I do know that St. Peter's is the more vigorous academically and, but thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Tell Miss Hilaria I said hello.
Oh my goodness. We love Miss Hilaria.
I know.
Chris, you love Miss Hilaria?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And so you mentioned meal plans. I thought I was under the impression mean, I know that Bergen Catholic has this whole big spread that they sort of tried to woo you with, and all of that, but that St. Peter's didn't have a meal. Do they? They do have, or they don't have?
Yeah, so we are catered by the Four Seasons.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not like the Four Seasons, but it's the name of the place. So there's different food every day, and yeah, and there's a variety. And the meal plan is you get the Four Seasons card, and then you would have a swipe for breakfast, a swipe for community period, which is where the whole school has a free period to talk to teachers, to socialize with friends, and then you would have a swipe for lunch. So that's 3 swipes. And then the other thing that's different from the other schools, students are able to leave campus and then go and eat on some of the restaurants and pizza places or delis that are around the area. So every year you get to go a block deeper. As a senior, I can go as far as Newport Mall, but as a freshman, there's a really good pizza place. There's a taco place. There's a really nice, famous diner called Buddy Who's just down the street. A bunch of good spots. So there's a variety of options to eat aside from the meal plan. So I got a private message from Abraham. What colleges are kids applying to? So this year was a wacky year, as we all know. So they made SAT scores test optional. But so we see a lot of kids applying to more regular schools, but at the same time, a lot of my friends have already gone into good schools. So from what I've seen, a lot of kids, they either take the Jesuit route, applying to Jesuit school colleges. So your Notre Dame, your Boston College, Loyola Marymount, and all those schools. Or a lot of kids like liberal arts at the school. So I know some kids are applying to Amherst College, William and Mary, schools like that. Personally, I've applied all over the country. St. Peter's Prep really influenced my love for travel. If it wasn't for COVID, I would have gone to Brazil and Scotland for rugby. So just, but since that, and I probably would have ended up going to Spain this year too. So, but because of that, I decided, all right, let me push it off to my college experience. So I applied as far as University of Southern California to University of Maryland. I've already gotten into Wisconsin and UMass, Amherst, and I'm looking to hear back from more schools. And the thing I really like about the guidance counselor at St. Peter's Prep is a lot of them were admissions board people at their respective colleges before coming to St. Peter's. So they know how they will get you right in terms of your applications, your history through your career at St. Peter's. If you need help with grades, they'll happily help you there. They'll really do a good job at preparing you to apply for college. I know you guys are going to be freshmen, so that's not a big concern yet, but they ease on you, and then as you get older, it really starts to pick up. But it's in a manageable way, and the teachers, they have a file for every student, so they're keeping track of everything. And a lot of this year, I'm already seeing a lot of kids going to good schools. We have a couple of Ivies already. Some of the more private schools like Vanderbilt, a lot of the Reach schools. So yeah, the school does a good job of getting kids at their dream schools, I'd say, for sure.
Thank you, Jacob.
Does St. Peter's offer sort of like internships during the summer as you get to senior and junior level?
Internships, I never took place in an internship, but I'm pretty sure that the network at St. Peter's, like, guys would come over on the last sort of months, and if you're looking for a job, especially within the clubs, they do offer internships. I never took part in one, but I think that is a possibility. Yes.
No, it's a great question. I can find out for you, and I can send a note to everybody with that, the appropriate answers for that.
Well, yeah, it's like you have a summer, right? Like,
yeah.
Can we get some opportunities?
Yeah, there is a lot of opportunities for prep students over the summer. A lot of the guys that graduate prep like to keep their network within prep. So yeah, so there is a lot of opportunities I'll have my father look into that, but I'm pretty sure there's opportunities for internships and networking in general.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, informally speaking, I know some of Jacob's friends, if mums or dads were, you know, running companies or senior people at companies, and maybe they had their child come and, you know, like you said, work for the summer doing whatever. You know, occasionally Jacob's friends would be like, hey, Jacob, you want to work for the summer? Come work with me at my dad's company, whatever, that kind of stuff, right? It's very informally. I don't suppose that's unique to St. Peter's necessarily, but that did happen. I can tell you that much. But something more formal, I'll find out for you for sure. I'm just going to make a note to myself right here, just so I don't, let's see, Jacob, I'm going to send the note to you. Okay, internships, there, done.
Is it, Jacob, this is just, you know, we're coming from a public school, also going into, I mean, I went to Catholic school. A lot of my friends went to St. Peter's actually.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm dating myself here a little bit, but you know, my kids, I have 2 boys, they go to public school. They don't really know the whole, you know, they're in CCD, but anyway, I guess my question is, how competitive is it? Is it a cutthroat environment? Is it, you know, welcoming? Everyone is rooting for each other. What's the culture or the environment when it comes to that issue?
So yeah, same. For the first 7-8 years of my life, my academic life, I was at a public school in Fort Lee, which was a huge classes, even for elementary school. And then I went to Notre Dame when the graduating class was like 25 kids. I was like, what is going on? So that, but in terms of competitiveness, and it's not a cutthroat environment. The kids are not looking to beam at you and like, oh, I'm smarter than you. You can't, it's not something like that. It's more of like we're going to help each other grow together. We're going to study with each other. We're going to meet at this spot during our free period, and we're going to prepare. We're going to get this work done. There's a lot of group projects. They love doing stuff in groups. It's you know, it's a work hard, play hard for sure. But the kids there, they love helping each other and stuff. I know if I ever need help, you know, I'll always text in a group chat. Let's meet over here. Let's get this done. Just so we have more time to space out our week, because it is a more rigorous Catholic school, but it's not like it's not like super smart kids trying to like be the number 1 in the class or anything like that. So yeah, it's just it's a lot of helping hands, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, it's a strong environment. And they also have, just as an FYI, I mean, teachers are always available too, to help, and students help. I know Jacob tutors, you tutor Spanish, students in Spanish.
Yeah, I tutor Spanish and physics as part of the National Honor Society. So I'm always helping kids, because Spanish is it's a popular language to take, but it's also a difficult one to take. But we have German, French, a bunch of languages. You can pick whatever. So yeah, a lot of tutoring opportunities within the kids. And also, like I said, during these free periods and community periods, you can actually go visit the teachers in their office, and they'll do sort of like a one-on-one with you and help you prepare for the test that's in a couple of days, or look over your essay before you submit it, stuff like that too. And the students are more than happy to help look at that too.
Yeah, I would say overall, my experience with Jacob is like Jacob, there's no like hardcore competition at like a bullying type level or anything close to it. It's much more for the individual child, they're driven to do better. They're more motivated. Like all our kids are capable, but they're driven not just from the teachers that they really enjoy, but also within each other, they push each other in a friendly way to, you know, drive themselves and get help and keep doing their best. So they're a remarkable bunch of kids that they turn out good boys into remarkable people, I swear.
Yeah. And they tend to all be really humble. There's never really any bragging. They all know that they're doing, you know, they're learning to be great kids. And as you develop through the 4 years at St. Peter's, you obviously get harder classes, there's more opportunities, but no one is showing off or whatever. They all know that we're all in this together. It's a small class compared to public high schools. So just that tight knit, but also very friendly group of kids, just like they like to rise through the ranks together before they graduate.
Yeah, it's been really remarkable that way. All right, well, we did it. We almost talked the full hour. Guys, there's just a few more minutes left. If anyone has a last question, or questions? If there are any students listening or on the call, if you have anything you want to ask Jacob? All right, maybe I put people in their spots, no worries. All right, everyone, I want to thank you so very much for joining us this evening. I know Sunday evenings is not the easiest time, and I appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about St. Peter's Prep from the parent and student perspective. Folks, you have my email, you have my mobile number. If you have any questions or anything that you think of after the call, don't hesitate to email me. Or Jacob will definitely respond back to you very quickly. And you're very welcome, Ibrahim. And I have recorded this session, so if you would like, I can send. I'm going to try to send it to you anyway, so you can have it if you want to watch it again or whatever. And again, folks, thank you for joining us, and a very hearty congratulations to your boys on getting accepted. Oh, I've got someone looking to come in. Oops. So anyway, Arana, we're just finishing up. I don't know if you can hear me, but we're just ending the session now. I just, did you want to come in and did you want to answer a quick question? We just got a couple more minutes at the end here. Or if you want to stay on, I could let everyone else jump off, and Aran, you want to stay, you can. We'll stay on the call. All right. I tell you what then, folks, no big deal. Folks, I want to thank you very much for joining. And if like I said, I'll send the recording, and yeah, I guess that's it. We'll sign off. Jacob, you want to say thanks? Unmute, say thanks, and then we'll go.
Thanks, guys, for stopping by. Hopefully, your sons will make the right choice wherever they end up. I know they'll be fine, but hopefully this helped you guys get a little more first-person perspective on the school.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Aran, if you want to stay on, you can. We can certainly answer some of your questions. I know you came in a bit late.
Yeah, I did come a little bit late. I had practice before this. Sorry about that.
Oh, you were one of the, okay.
I didn't have much questions, so just want to get your point of view in this and how everything goes down at the school. So, but I also went to the other meeting before this at 1. So.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, Aran, you know what I could do if you'd like? I'm recording this session. So if you wanted, I'll get the video and I can send you the link. I'm going to send it to everybody anyway.
All right. That's perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I think, but you know what, while you've got Jacob, if Jacob, do you want to just share with Aran, your perspective of St. Peter's Prep, give him a 5-minute overview, whatever. Aran, is there anything in particular that hasn't been covered that you want to hear about, or just a general overview as like a kid in the
Not
trend?
much. So like I got most of the information that I need about the school earlier. So mostly I'm good with everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So I guess we'll just send you the video, and if you have any questions, I'll just reach out to you, and then you
All
can.
right. That'd be perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Aran, excuse me. Is that how you pronounce your first name? I'm sorry.
Arhan.
Arhan, excuse me.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
Arhan, Jacob left his, if you look in the chat, you can see Jacob's email there, but I'll tell you what I'll do. If I may have included it in my emails. I think I did. But so you have it, so great. But
all right.
Anyway, all right. Arhan, thank you very much. And whatever you decide, best of luck. Congratulations on getting accepted.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Awesome.
All right.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.